Welcome back to Bread and Butter, where we are serving up the basics for Hearthstone improvement. This is episode 120. As always, I'm joined by Pilot. Pilot, how are you tonight?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, and we have a very special guest tonight, a fellow Amber Flight gaming representative, Curly. Curly, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you. Just had a long day. I was streaming, I was playing some Hearthstone and a new game today, actually.
Fantastic. So, speaking of Hearthstone, what have you been doing inside of Hearthstone?
Lately, I was playing a lot of the same decks before. I was waiting for the patch. I think we all were. Everyone was like playing around that Hunter deck. So I was having fun playing. What was I playing before the patch? Let me see. I think I was playing a little bit of Imbue Druid. That seemed pretty good. And I wanted to play Starship DK, but it just wasn't working. Every time you queued up in the ladder, it was always like against the Plush Hunter deck, and they just killed you so fast. So I didn't really like that. But lately, I've been having a lot of fun playing Imbue Priest and Imbue Paladin. And I honestly started playing a new deck. It's not new. It's been around, Protoss Mage. But I've actually started playing it recently, and I've been enjoying it.
Fantastic. How about yourself, Pilot? What have you been doing?
Yeah, I haven't been as engaged this week, partly because we were waiting on the patch, partly just because I didn't have time. And when I had time, I felt like playing other games. I haven't quite figured it out. I can't quite put my finger on it, but this meta and this expansion just has not really resonated with me. All the decks that I've liked have not matched up well, which doesn't help. But I think 4-set metas just are not for me, and that's fine. But the past couple years of 4-set meta, I've definitely burned out on a little bit quicker than normal. Did try some new stuff, tried putting together some things with a few games I played after the patch. Didn't have a whole lot of success. Ended up playing a little bit more of like the Imbue Paladin, and that feels so much better. Just with the 1 mana change to hero power, it just makes it to where you can actually hero power before turn 7. And then forget what else I was playing. Played a little bit of the Imbue Priest. Had a faster version that I'd gotten from Magesa, and then a Protoss one that I think was from Homie that was on HS Guru. Those were fun, and then kind of went back to the stuffy Double Frost and Holy DK just because that's what's worked for me this month. But not a whole lot in Standard. Played a couple BGs and been playing actually more Arena than Standard probably. Just, having some fun, drafting some decks, trying different things out. And, had some decks that I really liked. And then right before we started recording, I had a Death Knight that I feel like I was in control, and then my warrior opponent high rolled Shaladdersill off of the 0/4 minion from this set that gives a random nature spell, and I died because of that. So my losing the high rolls is going throughout multiple modes in Hearthstone, which is probably showing me it's time to just kind of take a little bit of a break, but that's okay.
And how were your matches this week?
So in CCLS, Coin Concede Listener Series, we ended up playing on Thursday night and had no time really to figure out what was going on between when I got home and when I felt like I should submit decks. So just kind of tossed some things in there, but so did Torby. Did end up losing that one because his jank was better than my jank. And then in THL, ended up just bringing comfort picks and ended up winning that one 3-1, I think, Saturday morning, something like that.
Very nice, very nice. And I want to ask you before I get to me, Curly, did you do any of the brawl this week or last week?
No, I actually didn't.
How about yourself, Pilot? Did you get any in?
I only got one run in, and it only went 2 wins. It didn't go well.
I kind of completely forgot about it. And like, I know you mentioned it, like, oh, I got to finish my run and all that. And it's weird because it normally comes the week before the mini set. So this week when it came at the same time, it was, I just didn't even think about it. It just never hit my radar, but that's okay. So I have been playing View Paladin, obviously, now that you can play it, although I haven't had as much success with it as I like. I've been streaky with it, but it's fun. I've also been going back to the Dark Gift Demon Hunter that I was playing a lot of at the beginning of the month, and that actually has been done pretty well. I don't want to look at my stats because that might not corroborate what I'm saying, but it's been fun. I had a Dark Gift quest for the weekly thing, and I was like, oh, let's just play this deck again, and it's got potential. It's fun. But we're seeing the meta right now feels a little wacky to me. I don't feel like I'm seeing a ton of the same thing, which is good. But so it's hard to judge if my deck is good or not. Like I've run into a priest running the it was an imbue priest, but not really. It ran the card that gave you fortunes on top of like the 2 fortunes that
Yeah.
emulate top of your deck. And I thought that was interesting. So I tried throwing that into my Demon Hunter deck because I'm like, you know what? What if I get 2 extra acupunctures? That seems okay. You know? So maybe that'll work out. So far it's been interesting. It's been fun. It's helped out a little bit, but we'll have to test it a little bit more. I played Sunk this week. I don't know if it's Sunk or Sunk Q, but he participated in the Masters Tour qualifier this weekend. So I just took one of the lineups that he lost to, which belonged to Neji Boston, and I just kind of ran with it. I played not great, but I went 2 and 3. I felt I was pretty happy about that. I know it was frustrating.
Okay.
Pilot, why are my games frustrating to you?
So I feel like this should be a future topic when we bring on Ron or somebody to talk about like conquest lineups. But in that, it'll be a what not to do, and that's what Tito does when preparing for things like THL. And that's, oh yeah, this deck is supposed to be good. I haven't played it yet, but I'll go ahead and bring it and see what happens. Because I think this season, I've prepped lineups at least twice as long as you have to get the exact same record. And it's just like, what am I doing? What am I supposed to do? Where's my luck here? I actually think that you've won more individual games than I have this season until this week. But yeah, I think while you were streaming during that match, you said, yeah, it's a good thing he banned this deck because I didn't play it at all. And it was Cycle Rogue. I'm like, you don't bring Cycle Rogue without practice, Tito. That's like the worst deck to bring. You can get by with a couple decks not practicing that are similar. Menagerie DK, the aggressive Demon Hunters, just go face. And Death Knights, go face. Cycle Rogue, no. Don't do that, listener.
I have, to my credit, I have done that before where I said, this is a deck that's going to get banned anyway, so I'll take it. I've never played it. I'll take it just to force the ban on it, and I'll play decks that I want. But my favorite thing was, you had told me in, I think it was the first game, I was playing Drunk Paladin. I said, yeah, I'm just going to cast these spells like on my face to like get them going. And then on turn 2 and 3, I stopped doing that. And you were like, you gave us the plan and you didn't go with it.
Yep.
But it's been fun. So Curly, how about outside of Hearthstone? What have you been doing?
Outside of Hearthstone, well, I actually did have plans to go to the Grand Canyon this long weekend, like this 3-day Memorial Day weekend. But I kind of booked very like I was looking into it very last minute, and I noticed like all of the hotels and Airbnbs and everything was already booked, and I didn't realize like how popular this was going to be. So I wasn't able to go. And, it's actually kind of a good thing that I wasn't, because somebody yesterday sent me a picture of the huge backed up line of traffic trying to get into the Grand Canyon. And they're like, this line isn't even moving. Like everyone is just stuck. Like there's just so many people trying to get in. So I don't know. I guess there's a train that goes there. So I might look into that next time. Outside of that, I've been mostly just streaming, working, getting back into the gym. I kind of fell off my routine a few months ago when my lower back, I had like a lower back stress fracture, and I wasn't able to go to the gym or play tennis, and it was a lot of like just I don't know, it just felt weird. Like I was kind of in a slump and I couldn't really do anything besides, well, I mean, it gave me a lot of time to play Hearthstone because I was staying at home, so I had that time. But I've been going to physical therapy, and that's kind of been helping with that. So yeah, just trying to get back into the regular routine now.
Yeah, I feel you. I have had what they call a textbook case of tendonitis in my Achilles, and I'm just try to
Mhm.
get back to getting like to play some basketball and stuff like that. And you've also been playing you've been playing some new games on stream, right? You're just playing Dark Souls, I believe, earlier today.
Yeah, yeah. I've been trying to kind of branch out as like a variety streamer, and I wanted to try some new games. And Dark Souls is one that's quite popular, and I like horror games. I like horror books. I like horror movies. So it seemed kind of like in line with my interests, and I was like, all right, let's try it out. And oh my God, it is tough. Like you kind of get the hang of things, but then there's certain moments when playing when you just freak out or panic, and I think you need to be patient and you need to like really look at like what the little monsters are doing, because I feel like I was kind of getting into the groove of things, but then sometimes you could get frustrated and then you just start like spamming attacks, or you forget to block and you just kind of like go in with an attack, and then you're like, oh no, like now I'm taking so much damage and I only have 5 flasks and I need to, save them before the boss. So yeah, the Dark Souls was crazy.
The people I live with during the week, they've been playing Elden Ring, and one Claire, she used to play Warcraft with me. She's pretty good at video games, but her husband is not very good at video games. He doesn't play them at all. But he's decided to start playing this game, one of the harder type games to play, and he's been playing. So it's been
Yeah.
fun. It's like I'll walk out, be like, "Oh, you still in the same place?" It's been like 2 hours now. Oh, okay. Uh, but he's trying, and it's fun. Pilot, what have you been doing outside of the game of Hearthstone?
Just finishing up the school year. We had our last day with students on Friday, so made it, survived, got through the end for the most part here. We have obviously parade tomorrow with the band for Memorial Day, and then I'll be in most of this week and next week, kind of just getting things finished up and cleaned up and inventory and figure out what needs fixed with the budget we have left, all those fun things at the end of the year that you don't have time for while there's students there. So finishing that up, and then other games, I finally got into the season of Diablo, started a seasonal character yesterday, as well as I haven't played since the DLC came out, so I picked that up on sale to get that going. Didn't start a Spiritborn character with the new class. I decided to go back to my comfort pick of sorcerer and shoot lightning bolts at a bunch of people for now until I figure out what I want to do with that. So that's just a nice nice to get back into that as kind of on an every other season playing it trend, which seemed to be the way to go, because early on it would be one really good season and then next season was just not good at all. So that's a good time to take 2 months off, come back, oh, this is really fun again. So I've been doing that, and then haven't had a chance to play much Lorcana lately because where the store that I normally go to has their league and open play on Sundays, and I've just been too busy. But the early they always do for new sets, to where hobby stores get the product like 2.5 weeks before other retailers, and that early release is this coming Friday for the new set. So looking into the new cards and new possible archetypes here, they're actually getting to where this is the 8th set, and then once they get to 9, they're going to do a similar rotation to Hearthstone, to where it'll be just 2 years in their standard core format. So this will be the last one before that, which is great for me since I started later and I don't have any of the cards from the first year anyways that are busted and everywhere. So looking forward to kind of see what I can do with this last little bit, and set up for kind of continuing into that and getting back into playing a little bit of that.
Curly, do you play any CCGs?
No, not really. Honestly, I've only ever really streamed Hearthstone and played Hearthstone. But like I think like 2 weeks ago I started playing World of Warcraft and Dark Souls. So those are like the only 2 new games. And oh, World of Warcraft is a lot of fun. Time flies by when you're playing that game. Like literally, like it seems like it's only been like 20, 30 minutes, and it's actually been like 2.5, 3 hours. And you're like, what the heck?
If you,
It's super fun, and I like seeing the Hearthstone cards, like using Frostbolt and Frost Nova, shooting fireballs and stuff, seeing characters and all that. It's really cool.
if you ever want to know how much time you've lost to Warcraft, type /played. I'm afraid to do that ever again because it's not hours, it's not days, it's not weeks. It might be more than months.
Oh
So
my god!
I played since vanilla and I played a lot and I
Oh,
played ran a raid guild and whatnot. So it was a lot. But we've been off it
that's
for a little
cool.
while, a couple years now, I think. So pretty much since the podcast
Mhm.
started. So yeah, good. For me this weekend, I had training all weekend, and I can't really tell you what that was about, but I do have one fun story from it. Is on Thursday we had tours of different areas of the facility that I'm at, and we had to go from one place to another. We had a van, and it was pouring rain. It was that monsoon day, and
Ooh.
so over in New England it rained a real lot. We had a early monsoon, I guess, but we were waiting to go from the last tour before lunch, and our van never showed up. And it wasn't that it was a far walk; it was in the rain. But the fact is, all the areas we go, you can't bring cell phones in, you can't bring your smartwatches in. So all our cell phones were in the van, and I keep my credit cards in the van, and I wanted to buy
Yeah.
lunch and I couldn't. So it was a little bit annoying. And then on Wednesday, I left a little early to do the same thing I did a couple months ago. Is I had to drive all the way back to New Hampshire to watch a middle school orchestra concert to see my son, and then drive
Yeah.
back. But yeah, that wasn't. It's a lot. I they played songs I knew this time, and that made it worse
Mm. How'd that make it worse?
because they're not good. It's I don't know. Like it's great. I love it. I love that they're working hard and stuff. But like middle school, when they get to high school, I think they get a little better at their instruments. But middle school, it's like, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's. I'm not saying they should be. It's hard. There's a lot. Pilot over here is a middle school music teacher, but he does band, not orchestra. But it sounds to me like violin is really hard to stay right on the key, whatever note you're trying to play. Am I wrong about that?
feel like I feel like strings stick out a lot more if it's not correct. So
One cool thing was there was a two in the middle of the fifth grade. Two girls were picked out, and they had worked on their own piece, or they picked a song and they did it, and they were fantastic. And this little girl was in my she was on a soccer team I coached, and she was the best player on the soccer team. And clearly, she's probably one of the best players in the orchestra. And I'm sure she gets straight A's. So as I'm driving home, I'm texting my son. I'm like, "Hey, are you friends with this girl?" He's like, "Well, we're acquaintances." I'm like, "This is the kind of person you want to be friends with. Like, this is latch yourself on because they will challenge you, and you know they're just nice." So try to do that. I turned old this week. I turned 50 on Monday, so we are
Oh.
really really old. I've entered my second half century, which is fine. I don't feel a day
Yeah.
over 45 or so, but it's been great. But we're not here to talk about how old I am. We're here to talk about our guest, Curly. Now, do I say it right? CurlyWurdy?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Where did that name come from?
Honestly, okay, so my first Twitch username was actually what my Hearthstone like BattleNet tag was, and it was Night Angel. And Night Angel is just so like generic. It's based off like this trilogy. I used to read the books, and I was obsessed with them. And then I wanted to make it more personal. So I decided to go with Curly, but Curly was taken. CurlyWurly was taken. So I just used kind of like the texture of my hair and part of my name to make CurlyWurdy, and it kind of just stuck.
Very nice. Now, most people call you, I assume, just call you Curly, but because
Yeah, yeah.
it's a mouthful to say CurlyWurdy. It's wordy.
CurlyWurdy, yeah.
So
It is kind of wordy.
so how did you get started in gaming, and how did that lead you to Hearthstone?
Let's see. Well, I discovered Hearthstone back in college when I went to UC Santa Cruz. I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh at the time. I played Yu-Gi-Oh in high school, and I was still playing in college as well. But some of our friends were trying other card games, and Hearthstone was one of them. And so I remember they're doing like a fireside gathering in one of the lounges, and it was like there's a whole esports team and everything, and they just wanted to get more people in. And I was like, all right, I'll try it out. It seems fun. So me and some of my Yu-Gi-Oh buddies, we went to one, and we ended up really liking the game. And it was cool that it was virtual because like we didn't have to bring our mats and cards and everything, and you didn't need sleeves or setup. You could kind of just play anywhere on your phone, on your laptop. Um, because it's so easy to play. A lot of us were playing in class when we shouldn't have been. But yeah, that's how I got into Hearthstone. And it was a lot of fun. We did a lot of like little friendly casual tournaments in the college, and we just played a lot against each other. We were always excited about new expansions and stuff. And I was playing for like a few years. Like I think this was like 2016. And I was playing till like 2019. And then when we graduated, they kind of fell off and like we weren't playing together as much anymore. So it's kind of like something we all did together. Then like once they lost interest, like I think I still played for a while, but then I kind of stopped playing too. And I took a break from Hearthstone. And it wasn't until like 2023 when I was thinking about Hearthstone randomly, and I was like, I have a lot of cards. Like I had quite a collection, and I don't want it to go to waste. And I'm kind of interested, like what's going on with the game now. And I had also just gotten like a PC for streaming and everything, and I had never streamed before, but I was thinking like, oh, maybe I can stream Hearthstone. So streaming would be like a great way to play the game again. And, just like have that chunk of time where you're playing and just socializing too. So that's how I got into streaming. And that was like the first game I was streaming. And I kind of liked it. I like being able to talk to people while playing. It's a really chill game where you can like talk to chat and interact with people and still focus on what you need to do too. Although sometimes it does get kind of difficult at times if chat gets very, very chatty.
Chatty chat is good though, I think. But yeah, it can definitely be distracting from making optimal plays. But if you don't make optimal plays in general, like I do, it's not a problem. So speaking of optimal plays, you made top 8 Americas this last weekend in the Masters Tour qualifiers. What was that experience like?
That was crazy. I didn't even know I was going to be playing, honestly, because like I didn't have the ladder finishes, and I remember playing at qualifiers, and I didn't, make it. So I didn't think I would be playing in playoffs, but there were some people hinting that I might, because the way it works is that if someone who already qualified through ladder finishes, like their spot gets passed down. And so because I did make it kind of far in the qualifiers, that spot did get passed down to me. So they're like, okay, like, yeah, you're invited. And I was like, oh my God, okay, all right, let's do it. So I was like wondering about lineup. I was really nervous. I knew I had to like play a bunch of Hearthstone, obviously, to practice and not play the goofy decks anymore. I was like joking around. I was like, should I just bring Spell Mage and like Aviana Druid? Like it did really well for me on ladder. Like I actually climbed from like, I think like 1400 to like 600 with it. And I was like, oh, this deck is good. But my friends are like, no, you're not gonna, bring that. And that's when I started reaching out to a bunch of people. I reached out to Neji, Clark, Ron. I was just trying to get an idea for like what might be good. Like what do you want in a lineup? How do you decide anyway? Like, do you just bring the best decks, bring decks that you're comfortable with? What about targeting other people's lineups? So Rogue was really good at the time, and I had not played a lot of Rogue. I was really nervous because I had actually just been playing Drunk Paladin. Like I was playing a lot of Drunk Paladin, and I was playing Spell Mage and Aviana Druid at the time, and just like messing around and playing some World of Warcraft. So then I was like, okay, like I got to seriously think about like what other decks I want to bring. And so I was talking to a few people, and like they gave me really good advice. And I think the deciding on lineup was the thing that took the longest, because in that time I was trying out other decks. Like, okay, let's Hunter's really good, right? So Hunter's good, and it was kind of easy to play. So like we might bring Hunter, and then we might bring Rogue. But then I tried Rogue, and it was actually kind of complicated. I think like it's easy in the beginning and the mid game, but then if you just have a lot of options, sometimes it can get a little confusing, like which Dark Gift to take or when to hold, when to go face. So I didn't feel fully comfortable with it. And I knew that I would probably just be banning everyone's Hunter deck. It's like I was looking at a lot of the other playoffs like lineup, like when the Asia and Europe were going, we were looking at a lot of their lineups and seeing like what they brought, what they were successful with. And that's when I decided that I'm just gonna kind of be more of a control lineup. So like we'll bring like I wanted to bring Starship DK, and that was actually a really fun deck. I hadn't played it too often on ladder, but it's honestly because you couldn't play it on ladder because like it was just kind of slow. But Starship DK was one of the ones I really enjoyed. Drunk Paladin. I feel like a lot of people bought Drunk Paladin. And oh, this is kind of funny. I think you were mentioning earlier how you brought a deck that you just figured that others would ban. So for me, it was actually Starship Warlock. Like I had never really played Warlock before, and I know the Mill Warlock deck is tricky, and I had never played that, but like Starship is a little bit easier. So I actually went and decided to bring that, and it was so funny. It actually did get banned pretty often.
See, Pilot, valid strategy.
Mhm.
Also,
Yeah.
also it sounded like Curly is a good stream for you. Aviana, Druid, Spell Mage. That sounds right up your alley.
Those are right up my alley. I was playing, well, the screenshot I sent you the other day was Aviana. So I lost that game still.
Yeah, it was nutty. I just gotta. I believe you just sent him with the caption Hearthstone.
I did. I was running Aviana and then Smallin in Imbue Druid.
Oh,
So
okay.
then all the one cost random legendaries are 0. And I also got Aviana off of the Xavius or whatever it is. So it had double battle cry. So I had 20 of the random legendaries in my deck. So
Oh my god, I've gotten that once before, and it was so cool. And I was like, oh my god, the dark gift for double battle cries. We got so many legendaries, so much value. That's awesome.
Yep. It almost worked.
So you did really well. You top 8. That's nothing to sneeze at. Do you have plans to try to push for more finishes in the future?
I mean, yeah, it's funny because like when I entered the tournament, I think one of the best things was that I had zero expectations. Like I knew I was playing against really, really good players that have been playing way more than me. So I wasn't going in with like high expectations or a lot of like pressure on myself, which I think really helped. I remember in the very first round I lost, and I was a little bit like disappointed, but I was like, all right, it's fine. Like I'll still stay in and see what happens. Maybe I lose the next round and then I'm just out, or maybe I win and we keep going. I did have a plan. I was like, if I lose, I'll just like, it's fine. I'll just go get lunch and then I'll stream after. I didn't want to stream during the tournament because honestly, whenever I'm streaming, I am super distracted by chat. Like my main focus isn't on the game. I feel like it's interacting with people like in the community more and then focusing on the game after. So I just wanted to like just zone in and play. And that really helped a lot too, because it's just so different. Like you don't have to like go back and forth. Like you're just in the game and nothing else really matters. And I was playing with decks that I was comfortable with, aside from the Warlock deck, like Imbue Druid and Drunk Paladin. I had played a bunch of times. Oh my god, I haven't played Imbue Druid since they hit Symbiosis now, but that was so fun playing Symbiosis and getting like the 0 cost spells and just generating so many more spells and getting your Imbue up so fast. Yeah, I honestly it was fun. I think just going in with that mindset, like I don't expect much, like I'm just here to learn and I'm trying to see like how it is to play against these players who I wouldn't queue into on ladder. And honestly, the tournament games are just a lot different than ladder. It's actually one of the things that made it really tricky to practice because I was not able to just like queue into standard ranked mode to practice, because it's like you're not going to be running against those decks. It's not good practice for it really. So I think that's where it really mattered to like hit up friends, people in the community, and like play against them. And I was happy that they were available and willing to work with me.
I wonder if we can get an AFG practice group going, because we have some high level players in the thing. So we can get Ron, Neje. I think maybe we could find something. I'm obviously not including myself in that, but yeah.
I think that is a great idea. Yeah.
We can just probably talk to Dawn and see what we can coordinate. So you mentioned that when you started streaming, you decided to stream Hearthstone. But what brought you to streaming in the first place? What made you say, I want to sit down and talk to people that I don't know for a while?
I think it's because I had some free time. I work a job where most of my hours are in the evening. Like I work with kids. So a lot of times we're waiting for them to get out of school. So a lot of the client sessions are held after 3 p.m., like 3 to 7, 3 to 8. And I had some mornings that were free. And I remember when I was playing the game on my phone, I just noticed, like when I got back into Hearthstone, like I downloaded it again, I was playing on my phone and I would notice that I would always be making like funny jokes or comments about the plays or like what was happening or like, oh my God, of course, or can't believe this happened. Only me, only my luck. And it's just, I wanted to like talk to people about what happened in the game, like instead of just taking screenshots and sharing them. So that's when I was like, wait, like, maybe I should just stream it. Like that's a good way to make my comments publicly and play the game at the same time.
Mental note: try to be funny when streaming. Got it. So what is your 1 to 2 line pitch, like your elevator pitch for someone to come watch your stream?
Yeah. Honestly, I would say if you're looking for a fun place to hang out where we talk about a bunch of different things and talk about, play the same game together, then this is the place for you. Because a lot of the community that I have, like, they're very helpful and they're very nice. Like, nobody is like standoffish, they're very accepting. So I think that's what makes it super fun and cool. Like, anyone can just, like, you could just mingle right in. It's very easy to integrate. Yeah.
On the flip side of that, you recently posted about some disrespect you were getting in your chat because you like to wear cute clothing, and you have to deal with that a lot. And like, I want to like more to that. Do people in your stream realize how good of a Hearthstone player you actually are?
I mean, I'm not perfect. There's definitely a lot of times where I rope out and they're always making fun of me for roping. There are also a lot of times I just don't do things in the right order. So I get where they're coming from. But obviously, sometimes they'll be like making fun of me and it's like, hey, I'm actually climbing here. Like, I'm not losing like 6 games in a row. It's like you win 4 or 5 games in a row, you lose one, and they're going to focus on the one that you lost. Right? Like, they're not going to remember or think about the games that you actually won. So, yeah. And yeah, about the thing about the clothing. It's interesting because I mostly work from home. So, I mean, I have a lot of cute clothes and I never really get to wear them outside or go anywhere. So a lot of times I will just wear them on stream. And I think maybe like that sometimes people are just like maybe like getting the wrong impression or something, or I don't know. It's weird.
Well, you did also in the same post, I believe, mention that you came from a traditional Muslim home. So what is the journey from like that to becoming a Hearthstone streamer?
Yeah, it's definitely different because I feel like my family was all about like, like privacy and just kind of like staying like reserved. So it's different because when you're a streamer, you're talking to everybody and you're very public, right? So it's just kind of like putting yourself out there. I think that's the main difference. I have always liked talking to other people, and I feel like I have always liked sharing things with others. So it's just kind of like a stark difference from like how my dad is. Like, he's very like reserved and private person, and I feel like I myself am not. Sometimes I've definitely been known to overshare things as well. So I think it's just a difference in personality, and I feel like streaming, I get to like just kind of like hang out and like say what I want and do what I want, and I enjoy that. So yeah.
So what is your favorite class and what is your favorite deck of all time?
Favorite class and favorite deck of all time. Ooh, that's a tough question, honestly. Um, okay, so I always go back to the days in the past where we were playing Warlock, and like you just got to like play a bunch of like Mountain Giants and Molten Giants. That was a lot of fun. I think I've always really liked Warlock decks. Not lately, but in the past. Like, I really liked Quest Warlock and Wild as well. That was super fun. It's funny, they hit that one card like 3 times and it was still pretty good until like recently. Now they don't. I really like Miracle Priest too. I felt like that was super fun because it was quite consistent and you got to play a lot of cards. And honestly, I am not an APM girly. I don't play cards fast, but with that deck, it wasn't too hard because you kind of you knew the order of events. Like you knew what you were doing, you knew how you were going to set it up, and it was pretty much executed the same way every time. So you could just do a bunch of things at once. And I remember a lot of people would just be like, what just happened? Like they were at full health and now all of a sudden they're dead. So it was like that shock of like, damn, that was so cool. It was so quick. So yeah.
One of my favorite things to do. So Pilot and I play a lot of duos. And if Pilot's playing something like Pirates or something with APM, one of my favorite things to do is play some of the cards that injects more chaos into what he's doing. So I will generate cards that get sent his way, or I will trade him things. And he's like, what? I don't understand what's going on.
I've lost out on triple rewards because of that.
Oh no.
He has filled my hand as I've been trying to get other stuff. So this is another lesson, and don't do this, listener.
So I mentioned I really like the Handlock and I really like Miracle Priest. What about you guys?
Pilot?
So I think I'm someone that I don't play the same deck constantly. I bounce around between decks a lot, but my two normal go-to classes are probably Rogue and Mage. Those were the two that I latched onto first when I started playing in Ashes. Favorite deck of all time is definitely Naga Mage. That deck clicked with me. It was just that perfect. You had a chance against everything if you knew the matchups. It was a lot of discovering. It was a lot of decision making. I felt like I had control over what was going on. Really, really enjoyed that deck.
And I don't do it. I think I've kind of moved away from playing the same deck as much as I used to. Which, I had hundreds and hundreds of games at some point, but like I love Shadow Priest. That was my jam. And Pure Paladin was I loved it. I just and there were decks that I wish worked that didn't. Like, so obviously I wish Black and Rock and Roll Warrior worked. I wish Earthen Druid Earthen Paladin worked. Those kind of things. And I keep going back to those, but it just never got there. But yeah, Shadow Priest was so much fun. And same with the Paladin. So one final question. So are there any streamers that you really like? Actually, two final questions. I apologize. Are there any streamers that really inspired you to become a streamer or that you watch or really enjoy?
It's funny you mentioned this because before I got on Twitch, I never really watched streams. Like I wasn't on Twitch as a viewer. So it was kind of weird for me to start streaming having never really been a Twitch viewer before because I didn't really know what raids were and like all of these little things like sub badges, affiliates, things like that. But when I started streaming, I did find fellow streamers like Asmodai and Drugi. Those two were one of the first Hearthstone streamers I was watching, and at the time they were both playing Standard. So I would just kind of like chill in their chat and talk to them, and it was fun. I noticed like a overlap in the community, like some of the same viewer names would show up, like same chatters, and it was cool that like people remember you and stuff. So yeah.
And do you either do any or have any plans to make any other content outside of just streaming?
I've definitely thought about it. I mean, I'm trying to grow YouTube. It's tough, especially with Hearthstone, because it's hard to make like evergreen content for Hearthstone because there's so many balance changes and new cards coming out, and it's like one deck might be really good, but then it's, it gets hit or it's not as good anymore because something else came out and now you can't even play this. Like you said, like Earthen Paladin, like you try to make it work, but it doesn't work. Yeah, it's tough, but I do try to stay active on other social medias like Twitter and YouTube and Instagram, just to kind of like spread out and stuff. But I haven't really had any ideas for making other content. I think right now my main focus is just Hearthstone. Yeah.
Fair enough. Pilot, there was a patch this week. Why don't we talk about that?
There's a large balance patch this week. So looking at the dev comments, in the first balance change after Embers of the World Tree mini set, we're addressing power and play experience outliers, both in the mini set and in the cards before it. These changes are primarily aimed at reducing the speed and prevalence of single turn blowouts, and we are also buffing some deck archetypes that we want you to re-explore, which I think is very interesting wording, because they definitely took some of the better cards in some of those and just said, okay, here, let's make it a little bit stronger. Try this again. Let's see what happens. And I think that has definitely worked for most of those. So for nerfs, we have Flickering Lightbot, which is the 3/3 Gigantify Paladin minion that costs 1 less for each holy spell you've cast. It's went from 3 mana to 5 mana for the first part of it. The second part is still an 8 mana 8/8 because of the keyword, so that the second half didn't change, but the first half is slower. Harbinger of the Blighted, the rogue 2/3 that whenever this goes from your hand from the battlefield to your hand, summon 2 random 2-cost minions. It now costs 3 instead of 2. Tending Dragonkin, which is the new card from the mini set in Hunter that copies your lowest cost beast in your hand. It went from a 3 mana 3/2 to a 5 mana 5/4. A huge nerf there. And King Plush probably got the hardest nerf out of the balance change, where it was changed old charge Battlecry, return all minions with less attack than this to its owner's decks, to new Battlecry, if your opponent has 15 or less health, return all other minions to their owner's deck and gain charge. So it no longer naturally has charge, and it has to be used as a finishing card when your opponent's already low. Tito, you look like you want to say something.
This is basically give your charge minions +3.
It got hit hard. So I think that was this is not the spirit that we intended with this card, with how it's being used as an OTK, and now we're going to make it a finishing card.
Okay,
instead.
But you don't print Imbue Hunter and then print Tending Dragonkin and not realize that this is going to be a problem.
Right.
Yeah, this feels like a change that they had in their back pocket for a while for when it was broken, and let people play it for a week and then said, okay, it can go away now. Now go find other beasts that you're going to discount.
I mean, this is they just wanted to anger Hatrick and just be like, we're going to make him so mad that we took away a card that was in Hunter. That's all it was.
So, yeah. Other nerfs, Cliff Dive went from 6 mana to 7. Symbiosis got reverted to where it no longer has the cost 1 less on the Discover, because it was a little bit too strong in Imbue Druid with new stuff. And then Curse Campaign went from 3 mana to 4 mana. Sing Along Buddy went from 2 mana to 3 mana and also gained an attack, so it's now a 3 mana 2/4. Neralex probably got the second largest nerf of the patch. Went from your dragons cost 1 to now your first dragon each turn costs 1, so you cannot do Neralex, Ysera, play all your dragons in Zarimi Priest.
Honestly, this is my favorite nerf of the entire nerfs. This one, I hated that combo. It was just so annoying. It discouraged you from playing minions on the board towards the end of the game. Perfect nerf.
Well, I'll come back to that thought. And then Shaladrosol also took a nerf. It went from 7 mana to 8 mana, which that's really important because it takes away the Ursol interaction. Ursol no longer corrupts it when it turns it into an aura, so you do not get the corrupted versions if you're doing the Ursol interaction in Drunk Paladin or anything like that. So
I think on that one, I don't think they thought that was going to be what was happening. I thought that they thought you were going to be playing the Pyroblast spell, and I thought that's kind of that's what the people are going to do. And then people started playing Shadrasol and they're like, oh, what have we done?
Yeah. Well, also when the cards were first released, we weren't sure if it worked, if Ursol Shaladrosol worked, because we didn't know if it corrupted it before it turned it into an aura or not, because there was a ton of debate about it until we finally got the cards and got to see that it actually worked like that. And that's when people completely switched gears to that. So, overview, my thoughts, bouncing off of what Tito said a little bit, is they definitely tried to nerf. They hit hard the OTK combo style decks that I don't want to say didn't require setup, but didn't require difficult setup. There wasn't much thinking and preparing into making a bunch of zero cost king plushes. There's not a whole lot of thinking into playing dragons and just surviving till turn 8 so you can go Nerlax, Ysera, you win the game. And there were definitely ones to where, they were the way that the decks were being formed, Hunter was getting a little bit too quick to kind of get under because the imbue cards still had enough tempo to them, especially the 4/4 Divine Shield Taunt, to where you couldn't quite get under them quick enough, unless you were just full on super aggressive. I'm going to win on turn 5 no matter what, and then that was it. But Priest had enough stuff because they're still making minions and threatening with the dragons that they're playing, or you get hit by fly off the shelves and your board's gone, and then when you rebuild, you're dead to the Briar spawns. Or repackage. Yes. So I think those two they're getting to the point to where they're a little bit too efficient, especially for a 4-set meta. We've seen combo decks that efficient in the 6 set, thinking like OTK Demon Hunter, the Lifesteal Demon Hunter. Very efficient deck in a 6 set, not quite, when we're supposed to be at the weakest power of the set. Other than that, they mentioned they wanted to hit the early blowouts, and Lightbot and Harbinger are the pinnacle of those. Harbinger is a big nerf because it's, I was watching No Hand stream the day of the patch, and he had brought up the point of you play that card 5 times a game. That's a 5 mana nerf for your whole game plan because you're constantly bouncing it and replaying it, and now that's 5 more mana that you're trying to find somewhere, especially if you're shadow stepping it, because now it's no longer free. So Harbinger, I was kind of hoping that they would do something with the minions that it's summoning, make it 2 random 1 cost instead of 2 cost, make those a little smaller. Just because I think Rogue has ended up being okay, but I'm surprised by it because I thought that was the glue that was holding together pretty much the whole class. But that card is very, very, out of the meta for now, at least.
Rogue's doing okay right now, though, I think. Like, it still seems like they're just fine with pirates and whatnot. But I'm looking,
Pirates and Protoss, yeah.
But looking at win rates, and this is obviously just general, like there's only 3 classes that are 500 or above right now per HS replay. Paladin is at 55.2, Death Knight is at 52.6, and Druid is at 50. Remember, this is just an aggregate. That doesn't mean that takes all the decks that are being played, and some are good, some are bad. Demon Hunter is just under 500, 49.8. Mage is at 48.8. Warrior 48.4. I still want to play I want to play the Warrior you gave me earlier on. I want to play that one again because that might actually be pretty good. Priest is all the way up to 48.2, but I don't think it's imbue. Rogue is at 47.2, Warlock is at 45.8, Shaman is at 44.0, and yes, I did say Shaman before Hunter, who is now all the way at the bottom at 42.2. And I had predicted maybe, so I don't think, looking at the patch, I don't think they needed to nerf Tending Dragonkin because they already made the nerf to King Plush. I think that kind of killed the opportunity to maybe have the Corehound deck, the Corehound replace Crush, and have that kind of opportunity there. So I think Tending Dragonkin was a bridge too far, given I was good nerf, except that they were already nerfing, killing, stabbing, stop, he's already dead, King Plush. So I don't know. I kind of wish they would have just left Tending Dragonkin alone. But Harbinger can, stay where he is. They can add another mana to him. I'm fine with that.
I mean, people just aren't playing that much Hunter, but Discover Hunter, right? Like, that was pretty good before. That could still be good now, or Hand Buff Hunter. I don't think Hunter's, like, completely out.
No, probably not. But I'm not seeing any hunter in tier. Actually, no. Imbue hunter is This has to be. That's not everything. Last 3 days. Let's go to last 3 days. Yeah, no.
Some
I
people
don't
were
think
playing
HS Replay has this patch yet.
Some people were playing like Imbue Hunter and not realizing that Flush is just dead. So,
yeah, can you imagine playing it and then,
Yeah.
like I bet you there's been some ones they play it, nothing happens, taunt's still there.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, concede.
Yeah. I do think hitting Dragonkin now isn't the worst thing, because at 3 it made it to where even if you're discounting other stuff, you can make a pretty big blowout if you've gotten your imbues going. With it costing 3 before, if you already have, even if it's just the Magma Hound discounted, imbue Dragonkin on 5, could give you 2 0 costs. So I was regularly dying on 6 to the plush stuff. And that costs 1 more than most of the other beasts that they're now pushing for you to, reduce the cost in. So I think pushing that back to where now you either have to already have all the imbues done, or you have to wait till turn 6, 7, 8 to be doing the hero power and the copy on the same turn, which I think a little bit more reasonable. I will say, so I'm looking at HS Guru because that doesn't filter as strongly for popularity. Hunter has the second best win rate archetype Diamond through Legend. The problem is it's 0.01% or 0.1% popularity. Beast Hunter, Token Hunter is still really good.
Is that the one with the Zergs?
I don't know if it's running Zerg still or not. I have a couple clicks to get there.
Damn, Zerg. Haven't heard of that in a while.
The one showing up on here is not running Zerg anymore. But it's topping out at, other than Ziliax, topping out at RC Rampage and Mother Duck at 4. So just really low to the ground, go wide, hit them. So I think that that's something that people should be re-exploring. And
no, Ziliax didn't get nerfed this patch, so yay for small victories. Cliff Dive was an interesting one because I guess given the paragraph they gave with the kind of the way they want to stop, I guess Cliff Dive makes sense because of the chance you get both of the green rags and go all face. But I would say that Ball Hog is more the problem. But at the same point, I haven't seen much of the deck at all, so I don't know if it's still even relevant.
It is.
Okay.
I've run into it a decent bit. I actually also lost to Starship DH this week.
Oh, yeah. So, I've actually seen that too. It's kind of interesting.
I was not a happy person. I don't think my gaming session lasted much longer after that one because I didn't realize it was back. But I will say, we'll get to the buffs here in a second because we haven't talked about those yet. Paladin is the other big one that they hit, with Shaladrisil being, not a Paladin nerf, but it's the one that was abusing it the most probably.
Yeah.
So that's a big hit there. And then slowing down the Flickering Light Bot. It's still really good. That card's still really, really strong.
Really? I thought 2 mana was a lot. Like, increasing it by 2, I don't know. I mean, I haven't even ran into any Drunk Paladin players lately.
So it hurts most on the games that they don't get the ideal curve. If you don't hit the strong cards early, then you're definitely feeling it. But if they're getting the Divine Bruise like they were wanting to the first 2 turns anyways, now it's just coming down on turn 3 instead of turn 2, which probably fair for a free 3/3. But I definitely ran into more of, you don't have the 3/3 on turn 2 like you did before, but now it's coming a little bit later. But that once you play the first half for free, now the 8/8 only costs 3, and normally you're hitting both of those back to back. So those back to back turns still hurt a lot. It's definitely dropped off. Um, and especially in popularity, but I think some of that also is the top end of the deck being hit really hard as well.
But yeah, two man is a lot. It definitely is worse for sure. But yeah, it's still playable. I think I agree because you get so much value at the top end.
Mm-hmm.
Symbiosis was funny because they just like, here, let's make it a little better, and like, you know what, never mind. I still wish they would have changed the imbue to be every 3 spells instead of 2. That just feels kind of too strong. It's still doing pretty well. But I know you're a fan of the deck. Carly, do you think that they should have this was enough? Do you think they should change anything else?
I mean, I think it's enough. I think it definitely slowed the deck down, but also that deck used Shaladrasil a lot, and now Shaladrasil is 8, so it's already being slowed down. And then Sing Along Buddy is also now costing more, so I feel like it got enough like chains on it to slow it down. Like it's being weighed down. It's still decent, it's good. We wouldn't want to like make it bad. So I like that it's still playable. Like people are still having fun with it. Yeah.
Now the Curse Camp. Oh, sorry, you want to say something about Symbiosis?
Yeah, I actually, the more that I think about it, the more that I like that they made the change to a card rather than the hero power, because if you change the hero power to 3 spells for the imbue, now you're forcing the deck to be an all spell deck. This keeps it open to play around with how many minions versus spells you have. Especially now that they printed like the location and pedal picker and other non-spells that you want to run in that deck. If you change how many spells, then you have to go all in on nature spells, and they're just not enough right now. So I think that this keeps the deck building side of it at least a little bit more interesting for the time being. So I think I'm okay with that change compared to the other.
Fair. And I know a change that you were probably pretty happy with was Curse Campaign going from 3 to 4.
I still don't think it's enough for that interaction. I said that on day one.
I didn't think it was doing anything either, just by being 1 more mana.
I think I said it directly to you, Tito, on Thursday. Of it slows down the first one that wakes up, because Warlock they don't always have it on 5, but they always have it on 5. They always play Ancient Allure on 5, and then it wakes up on 7, and you go Curse Campaign. Eternally over, and now there's 3 of them on board. It slows it down a turn, but that's an interaction that a lot of other things, if you slow it down a turn, it makes a big difference. That is one, it doesn't matter what turn it's happening on, it's still really, really strong. It doesn't matter if it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, whatever it is in the game, that, getting 3 or 4 dormant Ancient of yours that are gaining 5 armor each and drawing a card, it's really strong no matter what turn. And I think eventually the dormant interaction is what has to be changed somehow rather than this. I think that this was a good, let's change something. We know it's too strong. Let's try a safe nerf that we can easily do for now without breaking something. And then if it's still too strong, look at it later. But it's such a awful interaction to face.
So speaking of dormant, just a little side jag here. I had a game where I was playing against an imbue paladin, and I was the demon hunter, and I generated a Magtheridon that played play this, and you get a 2/2 copy. So that's 6 damage every turn. Fantastic, right? The paladin generated 2, I believe 3 of the dragon that can take maximum 1 damage each time.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Oh no.
Like I'm sitting here and I'm like, yes, like this is going to be perfect. And then I couldn't clear their boards. I'm like, this is going to take care of mostly everything, but no, just didn't happen.
That's so unlucky for you.
No, I think it's the algorithm. I think I was destined to lose at that point. But Sing Along Buddy, I know somebody was saying that this should be Battle Cry. Your next hero power cost triggers twice. But I don't know. This seems fine. You knew someone was going to find a way to break this card, and it was broken in a couple different decks. Definitely with Imbue, Hunter, and although we never see this in Imbue Paladin because you're just generating more portals. Who cares? But
True.
no, I think this nerf is fine. Definitely good to be a little slower in Druid, but yeah, I mean it's all right. I think it's enough here. Any thoughts on the single one, buddy, before we go on to Gnarlex?
No, I mean, it is one that made sense, but yeah, just hit it now. It's going to be too strong eventually going forward. So,
all right, Curly, how are you feeling about this Gnarlex nerf?
Honestly, I never really liked Surimi Priest. I tried playing the deck and I would just brick. Like I would have all of the high cost dragons. I would have the Briar Spawns in hand and I wouldn't get my combo pieces. Like I would rarely see Neralex or Surimi. It just felt really like, I don't know. I never really liked playing the deck. I had played against it a few times and yeah, if they get it, they win for sure. If they don't, then okay, you have a chance. So I know a lot of people were complaining about this deck. It wasn't as popular though. I feel like in the last like 2 weeks, like before it even got hit, like I wasn't really seeing it that often. I was actually surprised that they completely killed Neralex. I was like, wow, like this is a huge change. Like from all of them cost 1 to only your first cost 1. That's crazy. And they didn't touch Zarimi, so that's interesting.
Well, I mean, they've indirectly hit Zarimi multiple times. Well, they changed the interaction from summon to played, and they've had a couple different things. So Zarimi has been hit multiple different. Zarimi is the Shadow Separate Priest kind of in the last couple of years, right? They work around it.
That's true.
Versus that, but I saw this deck plenty, and I'm happy to not see it anymore. It just was because it's just one of those things where it's like you see this card, you're like, oh, here we go. You know, you roll your eyes. And you say, well, you did the thing. You had the cards. Yay for you. And I just hated it. Pilot, how you feeling about Gnarlex here?
Yeah, it was one that I didn't see a lot either, but it was definitely a deck that was more prevalent depending on where you were in ladder. So where I want to say at one point, Diamond, especially Upper Diamond, was, it was a lot more prevalent and, one of the more popular decks there. And then as you go up higher in Legend ranks, it kind of faded away, which is why some people I think were surprised that it got nerfed, but is one of those things where they wanted to hit the blowouts and kind of the combos that you don't have to work as hard towards sometimes. One unfortunate side effect, depending on the types of decks that you play, or fortunate if you're someone who likes these kind, is it's allowed some of these other decks like the Starship Warlock and things like that to kind of run free, because now all of the OTK decks that dealt with it have been blown up. So that's been a little bit of a side effect of this that we'll see how the meta develops from it. But I think that that's kind of one of the biggest things that people mentioned. We've taken away 2 or 3 of these really strong decks that kept those in check, and now there's not a whole lot keeping them in check for a little bit.
Fair. All right. And I think we've already talked about Shadracell enough, so let's go ahead and move on to buffs. But why don't we talk about each buff individually instead of going through them all? So, Pilot, why don't we start with the first one?
I will say for Shadracell, I mean, it's harder to corrupt, but that card is still just fine not corrupting it. It's still just fine to bounce a minion for free and give +5/+5 for a turn for free. Still a good card, still actually very strong at the top end of an aggro deck. So.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
So, buffs. We're going to start with the 2 hero powers that they buffed. Blessing of the Moon, which is the Priest Imbue hero power. And they changed it to where now you get a playable Priest minion or spell to add to your hand. It costs 1 less, or however many times you've imbued, but it's temporary. And that playable does factor in the discount. So it's not overly clear by the text on it. But if you've imbued twice and you're using your last 2 mana on it, you'll get a 1 or a 2 mana card that you can play from it. So I've actually played a little bit of this in more aggressive priests, and I think that the hero power has now become an aggressive priest hero power rather than a control priest hero power, because if you're just trying to fill a curve, you're fine taking whatever random cheap card that you can get and playing it. But if you're trying to, on 7 mana, hit the button and see what you get, and then you get offered these 1 and 2 mana cards. It feels awful. But I was having a lot of success and a lot of fun with it in more aggressive priest decks compared to a slower deck.
It'll be in control, just not in a 4-set meta. Like, you're gonna get the control cards over in the next set and whatever the next set, and then we're gonna be very sick. Before the end of the year, I bet you we're calling for Imbue Priest to be nerfed.
I don't know, because it's just playable of anything of that mana that you can spend in less. So it just pulls any random spell and any random minion out of the bag. Because I used it on 6 and 7 mana, and I very rarely saw anything that cost more than 4. So I, just because of how the pool is, but also, you're not likely to get a control answer out of one random card. So if they made it, a choose one, you're going to get a minion or a priest, and then or a minion or a spell and discover from that. Yeah, definitely. But the way that it is right now, I'm not sure if it makes it control viable.
Well, but my thought is you're going to have the control tools in your deck. This is going to give you, because we're going to get control cards eventually, right? That's Wicked Good has, he needs to be able to be happy. So I think that this is going to be good in control priest. Not that it will always generate control cards for you, but it will give you extra value, which is usually the staple of a control priest. So I don't know. I think we'll see it, and we'll be kind of like I said, I think we'll not be happy with it by the end of the year, but for now it's fine. What do you think? Do you like control priests? Do you like control decks? I know you said you brought a bunch of control decks this weekend, but do you like control?
Yeah. Honestly, I used to not like control because it just seemed like you weren't really doing anything. Like, some turns you really don't need to do much and you just pass. Or you just clear and pass, and you're not like pushing any damage or doing anything. So it was kind of hard. But honestly, now I'm kind of seeing that aggro can also be sometimes hard to play. It's not as easy as just spitting out your minions and going face. Like, there's a lot more intricacies to both play styles. I've been playing Imbue Priest. I only had a few games. I think I tried it yesterday and today, and I did notice it was very aggressive. Like, you have the weapon, you pull out like the 3/3, and then you have like Orbital Moon, and you have a Jug also to buff everything, because you have like Beast and Draenei. And this deck also ran Observer, so that was kind of like kind of disturbing the opponent's turn as well. So I see the potential, and I like the new hero power being like only playable. So it's like, it's not a temporary card that's just going to get discarded at the end of the turn. It makes it a little interesting too, because you don't really know if you want, like, can you narrow down exactly what you want? Like, there's only so many like 1 mana minions or spells. Like, if you're looking for another acupuncture or something, like, do you want to press the button right at the start of your turn with like 4 or 5 mana, or do you want to actually spend 3 mana on stuff and then hero power to narrow down exactly what you're looking for? Not a guarantee, but maybe makes you think a little bit more about what'll be offered. So I see that it seems kind of like an easy deck, but could have a lot more in it. And I find it interesting that you want it to be more for control, because I can see the problem with this deck. It's like, it's beating people by like turn 6, 7 usually. So I do think it is really good. It is really fast, and it would be interesting to see more control tools, and then using that imbue power, maybe get like a discounted repackage or something. But I bet like nobody wants to play against control priest either. So I could see people complaining about that as well. Like, I think either way, people are going to complain about something, whether the deck is aggro and killing you super early, or just, very like control heavy, and you can't really get past it.
Fair. Paladin, a little better to play,
yes,
right?
So we talked about it already a little bit. The Paladin Imbue hero power was changed as well, to where they changed the cost on it from 2 mana to 1 mana to shuffle the portals in your deck. No change to the portals, just to the hero power, and it is significantly better. As I mentioned earlier, you can actually weave in a hero power really easily starting turn 4 and 5, rather than having these really, really awkward turns where I really want to get portals in my deck so that I can, play these cards that draw the portals, but I don't want to spend 2 mana for it. And now it's really easy to, have a turn 4, play the 3 mana imbue and hero power, or turn 5, play the 4 mana imbue and hero power, and just kind of start weaving those in much, much more smoothly.
Yeah, I mean it feels good, but you're seeing a lot of it now too. So it's still kind of random, but I don't know. You can get some good sweet spots. There's some places like I think you get a lot of, you want to get off 6 real quick because you get the 1/1 with lifesteal a lot. But overall, you're getting good dragons. Even if you get them early, it's good tempo. So I think this is a pretty good change. It's fun. And people have been wanting to play it. So I'm glad that they made a change to allow us to actually play this deck. Curly, how do you like the imbued paladin?
Yeah, I mean, Imbue Paladin was the deck that I was playing during theory crafting, and I really enjoyed it then. And I was hoping that it would be more popular, but it wasn't. It was just too slow. And now it's popular again, and it's actually it's decent. It's pretty good. It feels good. You have Ursol, and you could cast Renewing Flames. That's pretty good heal and really good damage as well. You got Equality Consecrate, combo as old as time. Feels good to get that off too. And the imbue minions and the spells, I think they just work really well. A lot of times you do have to be careful though what your dragons cost, because I've noticed like sometimes like you just don't want it to be 8 cost dragons, because a lot of times you're gonna get like 4 12s, right? Like there's like a certain like a number. Like I think like 4 is pretty good. I think 7 is pretty good too. 6 is fine. 8 is kind of meh. I don't know about 9, but like 10 is really, really good. So yeah, I like it. I love dragons, and I'm glad Imbue Paladin is getting its turn in the spotlight now. I have noticed that some people play Linessa in their deck. I feel like Linessa just like everyone just wants to play Linessa in a Paladin deck because it's like it's that good. Like Linessa is just such a good card. Like imagine Linessa in any other deck, like Druid or Rogue. Oh God, not Rogue. Yeah, so I feel like sometimes like if people can just put Linessa in there, it's fine, and you do have spells that cost less than 2, and you get to cast them twice. I haven't tried it personally. I've just been playing the normal vanilla version of Imbue Paladin, and it's been fun. I liked it.
And I think sometimes the taunts, the 412s and the 412s with taunt or whatever, like that can be good if you need like, some meat shield in front of you, whatever. But yeah, I agree. It's
True.
like there is, depending on the math, I wonder what the math is. I would say that if you're matchups, like that's how complicated this game can get, right? Like if you're playing against a rogue, maybe you want to kind of try to stay at 5, or if you're playing against a druid, you want to stay at 8. I don't know. Like I have no idea, but I think that's kind of an interesting way to kind of go about things. I haven't even thought about playing Linessa, and I've never seen it in this deck, so that's kind of interesting to do. I can see it, but yeah, I don't know how good it is. But
Yeah.
All right, Pilot Shadow Flame Suffusion. This card was already good.
Yeah, so we have 2 warrior buffs. We'll just group them together because they're both to the same general theme. Shadow Flame Suffusion was the new spell from the mini set. It was 3 mana, deal 3 damage. Now it's 2 mana, deal 2 damage, and discover a warrior minion with a dark gift. And then they also buffed Dark Rider, which was from the main set, which is a 1 mana battle cry. If you're holding a dragon, discover a dragon with a dark gift. It went from a 1/1 to a 2/1. So, trying to buff the dark gift warriors, because warrior hasn't been doing a ton this expansion. We had some control warriors kind of sprung up here at the mini set because they were able to counter the hunter and everything else that was going on. But outside of that, they haven't been doing a lot. I have not seen either of these cards since the balance change happened, though. I haven't played a lot. And these were 2 of the strongest cards already, I feel, but I don't think that the changes push the power in those individual cards enough to change the deck. I will say, looking at HS Guru, the top archetype win rate for Warrior is Mech Warrior, and I could see the spell kind of finding a home there. in 2 mana, take care of a thing, and get a minion to play while you're waiting for your mechs to come online. But Cassandra Warrior is way towards the bottom at 44% as an archetype. So I don't think that fixed that problem.
And I always find it weird when, not weird, but it's like, how did they decide, like, hey, Dark Rider, let's give you an extra attack and see how that goes? Like, it's so random, right? It's just like, I'm sure there's a reason for it.
Should have had that attack already.
Yeah, but it's just like such a, like, let's just give it, let's give this one card another. Sometimes they give it another health, sometimes they give it another attack. It's like, why is this the decision we're making on a buff? Because usually buffs don't hit, or they hit too hard. Right? Usually they make a buff and it kind of blows up the meta, or it doesn't move the card at all to play it. There's almost never buffs that are like, okay, we'll start playing it. It's a fine card, but it doesn't change anything. But I always find it weird when they have like a plus attack on like a 1-mana minion or something like that. It just feels so random. Curly, do you play any warrior? How do you like these these buffs?
Yeah, honestly, I rarely ever play warrior. I feel like I tried Chemical Spill Warrior once a few months ago, and it was cool. It was fun. Then after that, I just moved on to other decks, and now I've been seeing more warrior. I was interested actually in playing. There's just so much right now that you can play. Like, there's a lot of variety. I've just been kind of like going through it. Like, I started playing the Imbue Paladin again. I played Imbue Priest, and also tried Demon Hunter today. Demon Hunter is interesting. I had a viewer today who submitted his deck list, which is like 80% win rate across 30 games, which is pretty insane. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. It looks like a weird deck, though. It has a Ragnaros and Briarspawn Drakes and Califero. So he has Califero. It doesn't have Cliff Dive, so it's not Cliff Dive Demon Hunter. It has that the pirate location, that summons like the 1/1s. So basically, you're trying to summon these 1/1s, and nobody clears them. Nobody's paying attention to your 1/1s, and then you play the Spirit Peddler, which reduces the cost of a minion in your hand by 6. And you could play Califero and have your 1/1s, and then you draw a card, and it's like, oh great! Now I actually, it happened earlier today in stream. I got like 4 Ragnaroses. And it was like GG. So yeah, that was pretty cool. There's just so many different decks right now to play, but Warrior's been on my radar. I do want to try a Warrior deck soon.
Fair. Living Flame went from a 2-mana 2/2 to a 2-mana 3/2. I mean, that's sure. I guess.
Yeah.
Spirit of Kelderai. Oh, good.
It matches the Death Knight minion now that draws a frost spell. So
okay,
it's fine.
And Spirit of Kelderai is a 2-mana 1/3. The old was it has Taunt and Lifesteal, Battlecry. If you hero power this turn, gain +3/+3. It used to be a +2/+2. Now it's +3/+3. I've seen this card a couple times already. It seems good.
Yeah,
like it's just a solid
really
card.
Good. Mm-hmm.
It's very good. This card is one of the reasons why you hero power late in the priest's turn to try to get this for free off of the hero power. It's getting this off of the imbue hero power for free is disgusting.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I always like the cards that are like low costed that can find value later in the game, depending on things like this. Hey, use your hero power. Now this makes more of a difference on turn 4 than it does on turn 2, right? So there's a potential there. And we also have Overgrown Horror, which is our final buff. And this went from 5-mana 4/6 to a 4-mana 3/5. Sure. This is a 4-mana 3/5 Taunt Battlecry. Reduce the cost of being used in your hand with Darkest by 2. This obviously is supposed to go in the Wallow deck. I don't know if we're playing Wallow right now. I don't think this made that much of a difference, but I could be wrong.
It did. Wallow as an archetype is above 50% now. Is at 51% on HS Guru.
Oh wow. Wallow is back, baby.
It is a not laughable deck anymore. So
you say Wallow is back, but it was never there. So can you really be back?
It was there the first 2 days when everyone wanted to try it, and then they realized that it wasn't as good as everything else.
I tried it too. I remember rolling a bunch of Dark Gifts, hoping and praying to get Charge and Wind Fury.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to dive into the Battleground updates, which only take us about 2 hours. I'm just kidding, Carly. So,
I'm like, I don't even play Battlegrounds.
You hear me talk about this every week, y'all. Give us a 5-star review. I don't even care about that. Just tell somebody else that you know that likes Hearthstone, that listens to the podcast, that, hey, there's more out there besides Vicious Syndicate and Coin Concede. Bread and butter. We have the greatest guests in Hearthstone week after week. Never had a miss yet. Look forward to it. I love talking to all these great people from the community. Carly, no exception. Thank you for being on, Carly.
Yeah, thank you.
We have a final question for you.
Uh-huh.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, favorite dessert. Oh, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to say like triple fudge brownies. Yeah. I love chocolate, and I feel like you're not always in the mood for like chocolate ice cream because sometimes it's too cold. But brownies hit the spot every time. And honestly, you could just put ice cream on top of brownies, or you could just have a fresh hot out of the oven brownie. Yeah, I love brownies. What about you guys?
For me, it's always tiramisu.
Tiramisu, that's really good too.
I say brownies are probably one of my go-to desserts. Also, I actually had 2 of my students for the last week of school. They made me a pan of brownies because there are 2 that are down there constantly all day just during study halls and normally poking fun at my expense. So they made me brownies that were a combination of sorry for stressing you out all year and congrats on 10 years of teaching. So they gave me a little pan of brownies.
That is so sweet.
Mm-hmm. My stepdaughter once got up in the middle of the night when she was in high school and baked a pan of brownies that she put X-Lax in and brought them into school. True story.
What the heck?
They didn't do that to me.
Yep, no, that was fun.
They just told me they gave them to me, and they're like, they were made with love, not skill. So, however they taste, good luck, basically.
That's fair.
Also, I hope you don't have to pass a drug test anytime soon. Curly, where can people find you on social media?
It's just CurlyWurdy. CurlyWurdy on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch.
Pilot, how about yourself?
You can mainly find me on Discord, Pilot712, that's Pylet. Find me in multiple different Hearthstone Discords, as well as Twitter, but I don't check that nearly as often.
And you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok, not OnlyFans, at Tito Santana HS. Curly, do you have any shout outs you'd like to give out this week? Or anything you'd like to promote?
Honestly, shout out to Ron Mexico. Shout out to Neji, part of AFG as well. They're great, amazing players, and they helped me out a lot. So I feel like I definitely want to give them a shout out. I also want to give a shout out to Clark Hellscream. He's always responsive. He's down to do a friendly match, and if I have like OBS questions or something, I can I feel comfortable reaching out to him and asking him, and he can usually point me in the right direction or give me some good advice, like Songify requests, or if I want to start dual streaming. So yeah.
How about yourself, Pilot?
I don't have much of one for this week, so I'm going to shout out all the people who have been willing to just try different stuff with the patch. I heard early on a lot of people, kind of jumping in and jumping to conclusions quickly of, this patch didn't do anything. Now it's just this and this and this grief deck and whatever. Looking at HS Guru, there are 32 archetypes above 50% from Diamond through Legend since the patch. So now some of those are really close together, like Rainbow Menagerie DK and Menagerie DK. Those will narrow out eventually, but that's a lot of different options to be tier 1 and tier 2, especially at the lower popularity levels for some of them, like Beast Hunter. So go find options if you're not liking what's in the meta, and go try them and test stuff out and have fun with the game that we play for fun.
That sounds fun. I don't really have much this week. I just want to, Curly, congratulations on a top 8 this week. I hope we see you in even do better next time around, and we'll always be rooting for you. But anyway, I think we're toast. We'll see you.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Slide two brothers meet one another when they slide up to the mic. It's bread and butter with one another. Let's start up that recording light.